Yo, what's up, guys? 65Locs here. Scale Riders Podcast, episode 234. Currently driving right now, headed to Whittier Boulevard. So excited to record an episode. It's been a while, and there's been a build that's been completed, and there's also a couple more that are in progress that I wanted to get into in this episode. So for those that follow me on Instagram at 65Locs_ or at Scale Riders, you've seen some posts in there with progress pics of the build. Also, if you are subscribed to us on YouTube, just recently I posted a YouTube video as well with the latest model car that I've completed. Before that, there was a couple of live streams where I went live and I talked about the car. It was kind of like showcasing it right there for a bit before I did the polishing and everything, and just got it going pretty much at that point. And man, it was a nice, like a fun build, Kickstarter to get back into it. Most of the work had already been done. I would say maybe like about a year ago or so on that model. And I was like, I had everything tucked away. Previous episodes I talked about, dismantling the bench, being a little bit more mobile, getting my toolbox, got all that set up, squared away. And, knowing that these limitations are set as far as, having the table and everything, arm's reach, tools, all that, knowing that all that stuff's kind of like, I got to set up, tear down. But since I made it a little bit more easier with this toolbox, which I'll do like a future video on that. I do want to showcase it, how I have it set up. I was able to really concentrate with the limited time that I have in order to work on this model and get it done, So all those things were like my motivation. And, a year ago, I had this Aoshima kit, Nissan. It gave you two options. You could either build it as a Cedric or a Gloria. And I decided, based on the grill, the lights, headlights, tail lights, I was going to lean more towards the Gloria side. So I picked out all those parts. I set them apart. I started working on the car. Back then I had already had the car like primered up. It was already within its stance, just the stock stance, nothing crazy. The cool thing about it is even the stock stance is really low. Body kit was already applied. I had to mold and glue styrene in some areas to shape it to the body, because that kit there, it's a little tricky. Some of the wide body parts, once it gets on the side, if it's perfect, once you start getting to the front side towards next to the hood, the bonnet, you'll start to see that there's somewhat of a step right there where it's almost like it's just hugging those front fenders, and you can either just have to cut, or what I did was I basically put a piece of styrene, an angled styrene, more like a triangle shape, where I was able to fill in that step right there. And I used the Tamiya cement, the fast drying, the liquid one, the one with the green cap. Touched it up really lightly, and it just fit in nice. Sanded it, and I just went ahead and primered it. So that was a cool thing using that Tamiya glue, was because if I would have used the CA glue, it's too thick, and I would have been just opening up a can of worms right there, putting in more work, unnecessary work that would have been needed, right? And we're trying to save time here. We're trying to progress. We're trying to move forward. So I had that car all mocked up and everything, and then I put it away. At that time, I started dabbling into other projects and whatnot, just to keep the curiosity and the artistry kind of going there, And eventually, that model was put back in a box, and it was just kind of tucked away. Once in a while I'll pull it out, but I'll still always put it back. And, you know, with all this time passing and just getting that itch again, and those little limitations and time of opportunity, I was like, all right, it's time to bust this car out. So I went ahead and pulled it out. I started to already decide like what color paint I was going to go with. And from there, my choice was House of Color Orion Silver Max. And the Silver Max, it's just really a rich, bright color that was going to be the base of the foundation of this paint job, followed by a candy teal green by House of Color. And I just went a lot darker on the color. Instead of going really soft and light, I decided to go really dark. And from doing so, you know, when I cleared it and I put it under the sun, you could just see all those little metallic, like little, I don't even know if they're even called flakes, but they're just, because it's not, I didn't use any metal flake, you know, it's just the small little metallics that are just bouncing out that transparency of the candy, you know, making the color look very rich right there. And House of Color Show Clear, I ended up doing a coat of clear, letting that all gas out and all, wet sanding the whole body just to get it nice and smooth with God hand sanding pads. And from there, we just started to proceed to get it ready for the next phase of final coat of clear, a flow coat with a little bit of extra reducer. Once we got that applied, you know, we let that chill out, and then it was just time to bring it in and polish the model right there with Meguiar's. It's like a three, I don't know, like it's a system using 3 different compounds or like bottles, you know. You got the Scratch X, the compound, and then the polish right there. So I went ahead and did all that right there. The interior, I ended up painting it with Tamiya Aircraft Tan. It's a rattle can. I do carry those on the site, and I remember seeing model builders from Japan using that for their interiors, and that was part of an influence right there that I was like, I want to use this. I never used the Aircraft Tan. Let me go ahead and do it. I showed it to one of my friends of mine, and he was just really liking it. He was calling it like a peanut butter, like tan look, especially for that color that I was using on the car. It just made a nice fit for it. And you know, from there we started to proceed with the assembly. You know, some touch-ups here and there, and then as far as like the chrome trim, I ended up using the Hasegawa mirror finish. So the mirror finish, you know, when people see this packaging, some people know about it, a lot of people don't. This is a product that was introduced to me by Armando Flores and Jeffries, and you know they were nice enough to share the info there for me, and also, you know, for others to learn of this product. I mean, they had been using this for years, and this is like next level to bare metal foil. You know, both products are great products. They work in their own way. It just depends of what you're doing and what you want. You know, if you're trying to go for like a show car or show piece, let's just say, for example, you're creating this like amazing lowrider, and you're thinking of like, you know, the history of people that have gotten like lowrider of the year, and or even like a lifestyle cars that are just like on that next level. You know, I would highly recommend the Hasegawa mirror finish. If you're doing a show car, definitely go for that. If you're doing even a custom car, and you're thinking of, let's say, the Grand National Roadster show, like shows that are on those higher tier levels, and you're doing a show car, definitely use the mirror finish. Use that. Okay, let's say, for example, now you're not trying to go for that. You're trying to do like a daily driver. Maybe you're trying to do like a car that, like a patina, or just, you know, like I said, like a daily driver, regular car. Go for the bare metal foil. Go for that. they each have their differences as far as the sheen of the look of the car, right? They have different feels. They both work great. Both work great. And that's the cool thing, is having the options. If right now on your bench you only have, let's say, just bare metal foil, in the future I would recommend to get mirror finish and have that on standby on your bench. Vice versa, if you only mess with mirror finish and you don't even touch bare metal foil, it wouldn't hurt to have a sheet, and to use it once in a while for detailing and stuff. They both work great. You'll hear opinions from people like, oh, I don't use that stuff sucks, this and that. And I'm referring to the bare metal foil. Everybody has different experiences, and it's up to you. It's until you use it and you see what's up. If it didn't work out for that person, it doesn't mean it's not going to work out for you. It might work out for you. You just don't know. I like listening to opinions. I like listening to what people got to say, whether it's good or bad. But I also like to get a feel for it myself. People could tell me, oh man, this movie sucked. Oh man, this movie was great. And that's cool. I'm all open ears. But it's still not going to motivate me to not watch it. I'm still going to be curious, like, oh, well, I do want to see it for myself. I want to see what it's going to be about. And we go from there, and with the mirror finish, one thing I will express is that I highly recommend that if you're going to use that and you're going to cut some shapes out, some thin strips, please use a brand new blade with your hobby knife. Brand new blade. Don't use a blade you've been using for a minute or whatever, because when you cut the edge, when you set that ruler down and you're cutting that edge, you're gonna harm it. It's not gonna cut clean and smooth. It's gonna look really nasty. Don't do it. Use a brand new blade. If you have 2 hobby knives, and if you're gonna be doing a lot of mirror finish or even bare metal foil, have a designated knife just for that, and that's it. Have the other hobby knife to be for your plastic model needs, cleaning that excess amount of plastic and whatnot, right? Have separate ones, mark them down, maybe use knives that have different color handles, so this way you know what's going on. At this point, I use about currently 2 hobby knives, but I have more than that. I like to switch it up, use different blades and things like that, just to see what's gonna get the job done, And with one, I just can't settle with one. I'm not gonna be satisfied with one. Feels good to have a couple options right there. So I started to eyeball the size of the trim, and it's not that hard. I mean, it comes with experience, but it's really not that hard. You just have to trust yourself, your eye. You have to look at the trim and kind of see how wide is it. Is this like a 0.2, 0.3 width? And then stare at the trim for a while. And then now stare at your sheet and start putting your ruler at the edge and start staring at it, and then compare. All right? And then just go for it. Make the cut. And once you have that cut and you have it all set, then from there you start to peel the backing from it and you start to apply, and you're gonna have to use your hands. The model, instead of having the model all over the table and everything, because I didn't want it to, get messed up, I pulled it away from the bench and I had it on my lap, over my clothes, like on my jeans, without moving, just having it sideways, holding it there, with my leg, and then with one hand, holding the model, and then the other one just pulling on that tape. Well, the mirror finish, it's kind of like a tape, because you're pulling off the backing. There's a sticky side to it, and then you lay it on. There's really no need to clear coat over it. It's already really bright on there. You set that on, and when you see it, man, the way it just shines and pops out, it's crazy. It's really rich. It's really bright, and it does look like chrome trim, dude. It's nuts. It's all my models have it. My old models, they have bare metal foil, and it's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I'll still use bare metal foil in the future for something, but for right now, that car, You know, I wanted it to be really loud, especially with that ridiculous body kit it has. It's just crazy. You know, you don't see that stuff here in the US. You know, but I was trying to imagine, like, all right, we want this car to be loud, obnoxious, stand out, body kit, paint job, the chrome trim, you know, maybe it has a crazy 808 system in the car too. You know, I mean, we're not going to see that or hear it, but this is all in my imagination of what I'm picturing this car. You know, maybe it's doing burnouts, maybe it's just causing a lot of havoc in the streets, you know, or maybe it's a really like nice, elegant, kind of classy car, you know. It could go in many directions with this build right here. So the car started to come together. The rear had this huge rear tail light, right? And it was just clear, like a clear white. And one thing that was like, ooh, perfect opportunity right here to now use another product from Hasegawa, another finish. This is a clear red finish. I put the piece right up on top of it just to eyeball it and measure as to, like, you know, how much of material do I need. Made the cut, peeled the back. I started to apply it to the model. You know, when you peel the backing, there's the sticky side that's gonna go onto the piece, and you could always take it off too in case if like you kind of mess up. It's a trip because it's almost like a vinyl material, but it's clear, you know. And then you just start applying it. You could peel it off and keep applying it. And then finally, like once I had it all wrapped up, I got one of the Tamiya craft cotton swabs, and I started to like fill in all the little crevices. And you can do it softly. And don't use the pointy one, because I know they use a pointy one. Use the one with the round tip, you know. Start getting in all those little crevices, all the edges of the what do you call it? The material. You could either cut it out with your hobby knife, or you could just fold it over and then cut out that excess, you know. But just be careful with it, you know. And then do a test fit, and if it fits well, all right, you're good to go. And then from there, it's like you're pretty much set. You know, you didn't have to turn on the air compressor. You didn't have to airbrush. You didn't have to bust out all the little paint bottles. You know, you didn't have to do all that stuff. You know, and it ended up working out best this way right here. So it's like those little bits like that come in handy for situations like this, especially when it's like last minute that you need to, like, you know, you're running on fumes and you want to complete this build. Another thing that they make is clear orange and clear yellow. I do have the clear red, the orange. Later I will be getting the yellow. I don't have that in stock right now, and I'm out of the mirror finish. But I know when I get those in, you know, people pick those up because some people already know about them. You know, they're already like all right, cool. But I highly recommend, like I said, use a sharp blade, like a brand new hobby knife. You know, you don't want to be using a used one, a dull one. You just don't. You don't want to damage the material. You want to get as much use. And that little sheet, it's a small sheet, but trust me, it's gonna last you a long time. You're gonna be able to get through a lot of builds through that one sheet right there. And later in the future, I'll have to do a video so you guys can visually see, if you guys are curious of how I do it. It's not even hard. It's very easy to do. You know, it's really no different from bare metal foil, you know, cutting out your strips, peeling off the back, and start applying it there. One benefit the mirror finish does have is that it's a bit stretchy. So, you know, with bare metal foil, when you pull it, you'll rip it. It's not stretchy at all, you know. The other one is. It's a little bit less of a pain, you know, once you cut out your shape and you go from there. So that car is like pretty much done. Recorded a little clip on it. It's up on YouTube. I took some photos. You know, when I take photos of that thing in the house, you know, it's all dark. It doesn't look cool. But when I bring it out to the sun, man, that thing stands out. You know, it's really bright. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to bring it out to shows in the future. We'll just see how it does as far as the lighting, you know. I don't know if maybe I have to bring a big old spotlight on it. I don't know. That'd probably look ridiculous, but I just want people to see that effect right there. So while that car was in the works of being completed and everything, I started to go back to the archives, and I pulled out my AE86 Pandem kit that I keep talking about all the time, and I finally clear coated the car with its first coat of clear. And the car is painted in Pavo Purple House of Color paint, metallic as well. And then I ended up hitting it with the clear, with the show clear. And it's crazy because the previous time when I used my airbrush, I didn't clean the airbrush, I just did a backwash with lacquer thinner, and that was it. So this time around, I mixed up my clear. I filled up the cup of clear, and normally I go through a cup of clear, and normally it's like a cup and a half when I'm shooting a car. I filled up this cup, and I start spraying the car. I'm going through those coats of clear that I always do on my cars, and it's like I was tripping out because when I was done with the session, I was like, all right, I'm satisfied with the way it looks right now. It's not over buried, it's like pretty cool. It looks pretty natural as to like maybe how these cars would probably look like in real life, not like a little bit of orange peel, but not too much, and not too much clear. And then I look at the cup, and I probably used like a quarter of the clear. There was still 3/4 left of clear. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, dang, what happened here? And I just feel like maybe because I didn't clean my airbrush, not all the clear came out like blasting out, which was kind of a good thing instead of a bad thing, because there was some parts that I did not want to bury in clear just because of the fear of not being able to fit certain pieces of glass in there, like the side markers and things like that. So it ended up working out. So the car should be dry by now. I shot it over the weekend. It's Tuesday now, so it should be ready. It's just I won't be able to do anything today, at all. I'm pretty busy, so maybe tomorrow I'll bust it out. I'll get some photos under the sun so I could share on my Instagram and on YouTube, just so people could see the paint where it's at. And then from there, I'll make my judgment, and I'll start to decide whether if I'm planning to do another coat of clear, like a flow coat, or just kind of leave it as is. I really don't know right now as to what I'm gonna do. It's still up in the air right there, but that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm happy though with it, like where it's at. And then while I had cleared that one, and that one was chilling, waiting to be cured and dried, I busted out with the Australian kit, what is that? The Kingswood. Man, my mind's going blank right now. It's because I'm driving. I'm just like, what is it? The Kingswood. So the Kingswood, busted it out. That one I made it more into like custom / lowrider, like California style or 65Locs style car. And I was like, all right, I gotta set this one up. How am I gonna do it or whatever? And then polished the car. I started to apply the mirror finish. So when you see these photos later when I post up, or even a video, that trim that you see on there, all that chrome, it's mirror finish. It's not bare metal foil. And you'll be able to see the shine on there, because this one I wanted to be more of a show car. So it has that on there. I still need to finish inserting the bumpers, the headlights. It's a lot of little minor stuff that needs to be done in that car, and that car is complete. So once all that stuff's all there, nice and set, the car is done, and that'll be another car that will be complete. Once I find those little windows of opportunity of time, I'm gonna just jump in there, put in that little bit of work. I'm not in a rush, but I know I'm close to the finish line right now. So I need to like just take my time, enjoy these moments with this build, because once it's done, the car's going to be put in a little box, eventually taken out to shows, and then put back in the box, and it's just going to chill in the box, you know? And then once in a while, maybe I'll bust out with it, but for the most part, it'll just be chilling in there, you know? I don't know. It'll just kind of be there. And that's just kind of how it goes, you know? Learning stuff from each build, getting better at each build every time, you know, that we work on something, try to learn something new, try something new, push yourself, you know, get a little bit of experimental as to like, oh, what you want to do. You know, eventually I kind of want to group all my cars, get them together side by side, and just kind of compare and see like the transitions of where it's kind of gone. I think after finishing this Kingswood and then that Panda, you know, I know Alex out in the Bay Area, he's going to be hosting another pizza night, the Slice of the West, which is going to be the night before the last NNL West. And, you know, I'm going to be bringing these cars over there, but he also, he's going to do something fun where, you know, if people want to participate, they're open to it. It's not mandatory, but if you want to participate, you can build a model car that maybe you want to trade with someone there. And I've been considering of doing that to participate. I'm thinking of just doing like a box stock, like car, like out of box. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do any mods to it. I kind of want to dedicate the timing more into the paint job. I want to, first I need to pick out which car, and then I need to start to brainstorm ideas as to what I want to do with this car when it comes to the paint jobs, you know, to just do something, participate, let that be more of the showcase piece for this, and kind of just go from there, you know. So we'll see what's up, but I have to make that decision soon, you know. You know, I'm recording this right now, so I'm hoping to publish the episode tonight, or no later than, you know, tomorrow. So this way you guys can check this out, and maybe by the time you guys come across this episode, I've already posted my decision as to like what car. But I definitely want to pick out a car. I do want to participate in that, in what Alex is doing. It's you know, it should be a fun thing, and kind of just go from there. You know, it's kind of trippy, you know, that's going to be the last show. But aside from that, a Dedicated magazine also, they just finished up their pre-orders for their mag recently. Maybe like, I think it's been like a couple weeks now. They were holding pre-orders for their magazine. And, you know, I believe even later, if you didn't jump on the pre-order, if you're late on it, you'll still be able to have an opportunity to get the magazine through MagCloud. I'm sure you'll be able to get it through their print on demand, so you could even order as many copies as you want of that magazine there. And they're also hosting their show that's coming up. Later I'll do a future episode where I just want to, you know, talk about detailing, you know, outlining that show right there that's coming up. That'll be taking place in Texas as well, in Denton, Texas, and that should be a fun show. I mean, it's gonna be huge, like a lowrider show. So like for those of you that love to build lowriders, you know, that should be a good show to showcase your cars, or even send cars. If you can't make it, maybe you have a friend out in Texas that can, you know, you can leave in charge of and bring one of your cars on there. I think that'd be pretty cool. And, you know, I think later in the future, that's one thing I want to do. I've been kind of itching to do a lowrider. You know, it's been a long time that I have not done a lowrider car right there, and I just got to see. You know, I still have some cars in the archives that I have not touched. They're there. I just got to see, like, all right, like which car do I want to go towards, you know. But that'll be later, you know. But I do have like my stash of kits. Like there's a lot of cars that I've worked on that you know, I put them away. And it's for a reason too. Sometimes when I put these cars away, you know, knowing that one day I'm going to bust them back out, you know, and I just kind of go from there with the cars, because I might have these ideas right now, but I might not be ready for it, you know, and then once I have the skill and everything, then that's when I'll be like, ready, like, for it. So, but I'm gonna wrap this episode up, guys. This is 65Locs checking out. I hope you guys have a good time. Keep on building, you know, take your time and have fun with it.